Hi, it's me again, Heike, and today I'm going to talk to you about Germany. I know I was going to talk about the United States, but I just don't feel like it. As I told you before, I grew up in Berlin, and Berlin is a very exciting city. And with an exciting city comes a great venue of great artists that just come and play music. I was privileged enough to see Pink Floyd perform The Wall with lasers. I saw Tina Turner. I saw Spandau Ballet, Duran Duran. I saw the Teens. I saw Culture Club.
I don't think they're gonna know who the Teens are.
Well, you could look them up.
No, you can't,
Why?
because if you look up the Teens on the internet, you get all sorts of really not so great things, and then you're probably gonna be put on a government watch list. Because the Teens were only known in one part of the world, apparently. They're not like Menundo or the Japanese one. I forget what that one was called. They have like two.
Uh,
Crazy.
that's my son Kevin.
Hello.
And okay, so Strike the Teens. They were Europe's youngest rock band in the early 80s.
And they kept the same members,
Yes, the same members.
unlike Menundo and the rest.
That's correct. Well, anyway, one of my favorite memories is going to an Adam and the Ants concert. Now, I don't know if you guys remember who Adam and the Ants were, but they had pirate outfits on and a gigantic white stripe across their nose. And of course, my friend and I, we had to look exactly like that, with pirates' costumes and a white stripe over our noses. So we made it to the concert hall, but we had to walk a little bit because we took the subway in. And on a walk to the concert hall, we got actually propositioned by a very drunk guy who mistook us, or mistook us for a pair of prostitutes.
Because Germany is well known for their pirate prostitutes.
That's correct. All
Clearly.
prostitutes in Germany, according to the law, have to look like one pirate or another.
That's not true.
No, of course
don't
it's not
believe that.
true.
Well, you don't know. Some people might take that seriously.
Well,
They
who
might go
the
to
hell-
Germany and Berlin and like, I want to see a prostitute that looks like a pirate, and then they get disappointed.
Nobody can be that dumb.
You'd be surprised.
Yeah, you're right.
You'd be very
Okay,
surprised.
please don't do that. Please do not go to Berlin and look for pirate prostitutes. Anyway, we made it inside the concert hall and we had a great time and we were right in front. And we were lucky enough to get slapped by Adam Ant himself. No,
Well, not slapped.
not slapped. Our hands got slapped.
'Cause
And of course, we didn't wash them for at least a day or two.
pleasant.
You're very.
Ew.
Well, you weren't there.
No, I wasn't.
We were also standing next to gigantic speakers, which made the ride home kind of precarious because we got picked up by my grandfather, and while my friend and I were absolutely convinced that we were speaking in normal tones, we were actually yelling for a long, long time. Those speakers were very, very big,
And you were right next to them.
and we were right next to them. The other fun thing to do in Berlin, since we had the famous Berlin Wall, we had little tiny wooden platforms at certain parts of the wall where the people from West Berlin could climb over, or better onto, and look into the eastern part.
I still don't know why those are there.
So we can look into the eastern part.
I don't know, but I mean, couldn't that create problems for the East?
Why?
I don't know, the East was paranoid.
Well, that's their problem, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Well, they're downright skippy. Where we lived, it was kind of rural, if you can say that about a big, huge city, but we had farms and fields and horses, and it was really, really nice. So my friend and I, we went up one of those wooden platforms, and the fun thing to do is find a guard tower, and on the other side, and there are a whole bunch of them. In between the guard tower and the piece of the wall that we were looking over was landmines and tank crosses and all kinds of really deadly stuff because they were really paranoid about people coming over. So we would go onto those platforms and literally flash in the direction of the guard towers. And you could tell if there was somebody interested on the other side because the sun would always reflect on their binoculars. We had a great time doing that. But we lived in the American sector, so of course the Americans had to patrol once in a while. And one time when my friend and I were happily displaying our goods over to the east, a jeep drove by with an American patrol and stopped and honked a horn and cheered us on. Mainly because we turned around without putting our shirts down.
Oh, good job.
Yeah, I know.
How do you not realize this?
Kind of forgot.
How do you forget?
Don't know.
You don't feel breezes?
No, not really.
Oh, okay.
So that was another fun part. And speaking of the East, of course, there's a lot of spying going around. Still to this day. So my friends and I, we came up with the great idea of playing spies ourselves. So we divided ourselves in groups of two. The first group went over and hid a tiny white envelope by a statue
On the east side?
on the east side. And then the second group comes over and retrieves the envelope. So we got our day passes. At those times you have to get permission from the east to go over there. So the first group went, they came back, gave us the general location where the envelope was deposited, and then it was my friend and I's turn to do the same. So we took the subway to Friedrichstraße, crossed the border, and went in search of the envelope, which we found inside a statue. So we retrieved the envelope and we hid it in our jackets, and we made certain that no one was around. Nobody gave a crap what we were doing.
It's still really dangerous
Yeah,
to
no.
do that.
Yeah, it didn't dawn on us though. So
Really,
yeah,
the tanks and everything at the border crossing, that never made you think maybe we shouldn't do this?
No, not really.
Oh,
So we
jeez.
retrieved the envelope.
It's a miracle you weren't shot right then and there.
Yeah, kind of is actually. So, we tiptoed back around to Friedrichstraße and see how it went. When all of a sudden we heard somebody yelling behind us. We didn't look around, we just started walking a little bit faster. As we walked faster, the footsteps behind us also accelerated a bit. So by now we were just a few hundred feet away from Friedrichstraße, but
And that's on the west
no,
side?
that's still on the east side.
Oh,
Friedrichstraße went both ways.
I wouldn't know.
So we were still in the east, but we could see the border, so we started running. Not that that is suspicious at all.
Oh, no, not at all.
So the footsteps behind us also started to run, and now panic sets in, because if you get caught as a West German spying in the east, well, that's a no-no. They really frown upon things like that.
You just essentially disappear as far as the
yes.
rest of the populace is concerned.
Oh yeah, they made, there is, yep. So we went to the subway station, came to a halt, because other people also wanted to leave East Berlin, when a hand all of a sudden touched my shoulder, and I just started freaking and shrieking and God knows what. Scared everybody around me, scared the border guards, which is something that oh no, do not scare
Well, you
border
don't wanna-
guards.
Oh, no, they have guns.
Yes, they do. They just, holy crap that I found out that they have guns. They were kind of pointed at me and others in the vicinity, because East Germans don't really care where the bullets land as long they land. So I finally turned around and I noticed that it was my teacher. And he was kind of freaked because I was freaked, and he wanted to know why. And of course I couldn't tell him why, because there were guns pointed at me. And then the question started. So basically my teacher verified that I'm a very, very nervous person. I was patted down and I found the envelope, but since there was nothing in it, hey, no big deal.
You were playing with an empty envelope?
Well, no, it had a piece of paper in it. It just said hello.
You could have gotten shot over a note that said hello.
Yes.
Oh, Lord.
And we went back into the east. And we never did that again. Lesson learned.
Good job.
Yes, I know.
All
Yes,
this
I know.
for fun.
All that for fun.
They have tanks and everything. No, let's just play spy games. That makes perfect sense.
Well,
They even have guns and everything. No, let's just, endanger ourselves for fun.
Why
Why couldn't you just kept flashing them? That was relatively harmless-ish,
Well,
kind of.
that's true. I mean, later on, I mean, several years later, I went with my grandmother into Poland this time with another train, because Poland goods were cheaper, especially cigarettes and all that. So we went to an open Polish flea market and we did our shopping, and we had our passports and all that stamped, and everything was nice. And I found it rather strange by my grandmother put on a very, very big jacket and asked me to do the same thing. Until I figured out that she bought more cartons of cigarettes than was legally allowed and put them all inside pockets in her jacket and surprisingly in the jacket that she loaned me.
She just loaded you up.
She just loaded me up.
Excuse me, I'm struggling with the dog here.
So we went back onto the train and
There's the dog. Sorry about that.
and we had to cross back again, but by that time the wall had already fallen, so we just had to get from Poland back into Germany. And well, the train was stopped because apparently there was smuggling going on. Who knew? And it was one of those random checks. Everybody had to exit the train. The Polish people were put on one side and the Germans were put on the other side. And well, they checked everything from the chickens that the Polish people had with them, and we're talking live chickens. Yes, people.
They just put live chickens on a train?
Live chickens on a train.
Please tell me they were in cages.
Yes.
Not inside someone's jacket.
No. They were in cages, but still,
Yeah.
live chickens.
Well, I mean,
And
it's better than... You can't really transport dead chickens.
well, you can
Unless,
put them.
well, unless you're planning on...
Well, why can't you put them where the luggage is? Why did it have to be where the people are sitting?
Because they're living animals.
Well, are you telling me they bought a ticket for the two chickens?
Well, no, but you
Yeah,
don't
they-
want to stuff them with the luggage.
A good point.
Those
Well,
compartments are bad.
anyway, the Polish police or whatever, the border control guard people, gun persons, came around to us and
Masterful use of the English language.
yes, and asked us if we had anything to declare in German. To which my grandmother replied, "No, of course not." And they asked me the same thing, and I said, "No, of course not." And I was sweating like a dog because I knew I had about 20 cartons of cigarette stuffed around me, and I'm like, "Oh, please don't pat
You
me
were
down."
a cigarette mule.
Yeah, I didn't know that. And then another younger border guard came up, and he just glanced around, and my grandmother glared at him like, he was fresh meat and about ready to be offered to our gods.
Oh my god.
To which he just grabbed his gun and just ran off, which I really liked. And we were put back onto the train and sent across the border. When we got home, I asked my grandmother, please never ever do this again. And she told me quite frankly that, oh no, she does that at least once a month.
If she doesn't do that with you, who does she use for her cigarette mule?
An elderly friend of hers.
Oh my god.
Now she told me that elderly people are rarely stopped.
Well,
Mm.
yeah, no, because elderly people can't, spy or shoot people. No.
No,
That never happens.
no, they can't. Next time I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about Berlin, the way I met my husband. Actually, I won him in a game, which, yeah, I know.
That's a weird thing to admit to. Most
What?
people meet and they're like, oh,
Well, no,
I
I
love you
didn't-
and you love me. And like, no, I won him in a game. He's
Well,
mine.
I didn't really won him. I won $50 and he came with that.
Oh,
So
the
until
$50 came first.
the $50 came first. Well, marks.
That's my father.
No, those were 50 marks.
No, I'm just saying that you put the 50 before my own father.
Oh, did I now?
Oh, no.
Oh, shucks. Well, anyway, we talk about that next time. You have a good evening. Bye.